Hey, this is David Plotz, CEO of CityCast. I have a favor to ask before we get to today's conversation. We're doing our annual listener survey, and it would really help us out if you took it. And even if you took it last year, we'd be grateful if you took it again, because we can't use last year's data. Please go to citycast.fm/survey to take the survey. It's only 7 minutes long, we know, because we timed it. That's citycast.fm/survey. And when you take the survey, you'll also be eligible to win a $250 Visa gift card and CityCast swag, that great CityCast swag. citycast.fm/survey.
Today on CityCast Philly, it's the Friday News Roundup. We're talking about the Kensington Wellness Court. A former Philly Proud Boys leader gets his January 6th sentence commuted. Yo, what's up with Josh Harris? And we're welcoming our newest team member. It's Friday, January 24th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Joining me this week is Matt Katz, executive producer here at CityCast Philly. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Trenae.
And Siani Colon, our newest newsletter editor for Hey Philly. Welcome, Siani.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Trenae.
Siani, we're thrilled to have you, and thanks for coming on Friday News Roundup.
Thank you.
Siani, tell me, why did you want to work with us?
Well, it's a few reasons. The first I'd say is that I personally have been a subscriber for CityCast for some time now. So I really like the idea of being at a place that I was already familiar with. Like I go to CityCast to figure out what events are happening in the city, what new restaurants to try out. And being the newsletter editor, I feel like it gives me a chance to see more of the city that I haven't.
Totally.
I've always kind of said, every time I go to a new part of the city, it feels like I'm unlocking a section of a map in a video game where the grayed out area is all clear. So that's how it always feels when I go somewhere new in Philly. So, as someone who's lived here my whole life, there's still places I haven't been yet. So I'm really excited to kind of have that opportunity to get a new perspective through this role.
I love that. Now you're at the Fittler Club for the first time, so you unlock the Fittler Club because we're recording here today. So I think that's great. Anybody who's listening who does not already subscribe to Hey Philly, go to philly.citycast.fm. Scroll down, subscribe to the Hey Philly newsletter that Siani is now editing and writing. It's got your news roundup for the day, comes out Monday through Friday. We also have original content every single day. Siani, we're just thrilled to have you on board. You have such a wealth of experience in journalism and in Philly, born and raised in Philly, Temple grad.
Woo-woo to you.
And you were the editor-in-chief and reporter for Kensington Voice, the local news site. You were associate editor of collaborations for Resolve Philly, which is a journalism collaborative here in the city. So you know this town. You've worked on all different kinds of stories in the city. And specifically, you've covered Kensington and the changes and challenges that are happening there in terms of policing and public health and the decades-long issues related to open drug use. So we're excited that you come with a certain degree of expertise for that town because Trenae, we've been talking about how we can cover it more in-depthly over the next year or so. So happy to have your expertise. And there's been a bunch of stuff happening with Kensington over the last week or so, yeah?
Yeah, especially with this whole wellness court opening this week in this neighborhood. This is an initiative for Mayor Sherrell Parker's administration. She signed an executive order on Tuesday to establish this court, so according to the Inquirer. So what happens is that police are going to do weekly sweeps, but it's only on Wednesdays.
Yeah. So how this executive order and the wellness courts works, essentially, Mayor Parker, in her executive order, reversed Mayor Kenney's policy that made 4 summary offenses decriminalized. So those summary offenses included disorderly conduct, failure to disperse, obstructing highways and other public passages, and public intoxication. So under Mayor Kenney, that was punishable only by civil penalties or tickets. But now police can arrest people that they see in Kensington who are making these offenses.
And this was decriminalized because it was considered that these offenses were really what cops could charge people who were out hanging out on the street, waiting, buying, using drugs. This is like what they would charge them with. And the idea was that this is like a public health issue, the fact that people are shooting up at K&A, and it shouldn't be criminalized. So that's why, that was the theory behind Kenney decriminalizing those offenses, right?
Yeah, but now over time, especially sitting in at different civic association meetings and hearing from community members when they're asking police, why isn't X, Y, or Z being addressed? And many of the times the police at those meetings would say that their hands are tied because of the laws that were in place. So the idea with now reversing that order is to give the Philadelphia police leeway to now address these offenses and bring people to court and arrest them. So this is really kind of a new change that seems to be a long time coming after hearing the feedback from community members.
So it's recriminalized, but there's also like a public health element to it. It's like not completely recriminalized because you don't necessarily go to jail after arrest if you're arrested for these offenses, right?
Yeah, so there is a process. So how would this work if someone is arrested by an officer on a Wednesday, because this only happens on Wednesdays right now? When they are arrested, they'll first be evaluated to see if they need any medical attention. And when they're evaluated, they'll be first taken to the wellness treatment site at B in Lehigh. This is where the police assisted diversion program was being housed. So they'll receive treatment. If needed. In the process, they'll be background checked to see if they have any outstanding warrants. And this is where the process kind of splits off.
And these are low-level warrants, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, most cases, it'll be low-level offenses that are within the warrant. So, after they're assessed medically, they'll also be checked, doing an assessment from the Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disabilities. So they can just assess, their cognitive levels, if they're able to make these critical decisions. So that way they also know how to present them to the judge and make recommendations based on that person's intellectual and behavioral conditions. So after that, they'll go to the warrant court. They'll be represented by a public defender. And if their warrant is not resolved in that instance, then they'll be sent to a correctional facility. If someone resolves their warrant or they have none, then they will be presented with the option of either receiving treatment, or if they reject it, then they'll go as usual for a summary trial.
Pretty complicated, it seems. And again, this is only happening on Wednesdays, which I'm trying to figure out how this actually will even really work.
Well, I think it's meant to be a pilot, right? So I think they picked a day for whatever reason. So we'll see how it goes on Wednesdays, and then they can expand it.
There's definitely been some criticism already to this
It might not
pilot.
even survive legal challenges, right? I mean, it looks like the ACLU has problems with it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So the ACLU actually wrote a letter about this. One of the critiques being that because this is being piloted specifically in Kensington, that you're treating people in Kensington differently than the rest of the city and how that's impacting their civil rights. Being critical about the Philadelphia Police Department, the ACLU says that the PPD currently arrests people of color for low-level offenses at a higher rate than white people. So this is going to have a greater effect on these communities on top of being in Kensington specifically, and also impacting their ability to gather evidence to help build their case.
It's also interesting that the mayor paired this, at least in terms of the timing, with the opening of this like, I guess it's a drug treatment facility, right? I mean, is that what the mayor officially opened over the last week or so?
Yeah, so the Riverview Wellness Village that opened in Northeast Philadelphia, that kind of takes place of the original triage center idea that had been tossed around by the park administration. So say with the wellness courts, if someone decides to go into treatment and they complete that initial treatment, they could have the possibility maybe down the road to enter the wellness village, because that is designed to serve people who have already completed a year of initial drug treatment. And this is to assist them with the next step in their recovery journey. Because oftentimes when people receive treatment and get back out, they have issues of not having a place to live or can't find a job. And that therefore kind of keeps them in this cycle of addiction because they don't have the other resources available to them. So the idea with this village is to help them have that bit of stability as they continue on that next phase in recovery.
We're going to definitely keep an eye on this stuff because we won't know whether it really worked per se for quite some time, right? And it's really going to depend on the numbers and what the numbers in terms of the overdoses and number of arrests. I mean, these seem like the stats that we should be following over the next year, right?
Absolutely.
We've got more news after the break.
Do you plan your vacations based on whether you can speak the local language? With Babbel, language no longer has to be the barrier. I'm David Plotz, the CEO of CityCast, and I went to Mexico City a couple of years ago with my girlfriend, who's a native Spanish speaker, so I just let her do all the talking, like all of it. I adored the city, and now I'm going to go back in a couple of months, but with my college roommates, who are a bunch of middle-aged men, none of us Spanish speakers. When I was younger, I might not have been bold enough to do that, but now I'm not anxious because Babbel has me covered. Thanks to Babbel, I know how to order a taxi, how to give directions, how to order in a restaurant, all the small and useful bits of language that make international travel easier. Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons, handcrafted by over 200 language experts, get you to begin speaking your new language in 3 weeks or whatever pace you choose. And because conversing is the key to really understanding each other in a new language, Babbel is designed using practical, real-world conversations, especially the sort you need while traveling. Food, how to get places. Babbel's tips and tools are inspired by the real-life stuff you actually need when communicating. With a focus on conversation, you'll be ready to talk wherever you go. So I hope I'll see you in Mexico in a couple of months. Or, as we say, espero verte en Mexico en un par de meses. So let's get more of you talking in a new language. Babbel is gifting CityCast listeners 60% off subscriptions at babbel.com/CityCast. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/CityCast. Spelled BABBEL.com/CityCast. Babbel.com/CityCast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
At New Balance, we believe if you run, you're a runner, however you choose to do it. Because when you're not worried about doing things the right way, you're free to discover your way. And that's what running's all about. Run your way at newbalance.com/running.
Obviously, this was a big week for the nation. President Donald Trump was inaugurated, and day one, President Trump pardoned, well, he did a lot of things, but day one, President Trump pardoned about 1,500 January 6th rioters and commuted the sentences for 14 people, including former Philly Proud Boy leader Zach Real.
Yeah, so the commutation means that these people got out of prison for various offenses during January 6th, but their criminal record's still in place. And the way you know the difference between the pardons, which is about 1,500 people, and the commuted sentences is that the commuted sentences were the most serious. I mean, these are people that like assaulted cops and were organizing the riot and were like leading the charge into the Capitol. So one of these people with the most serious offenses was this guy, Zach Real, who was, I guess, the president of the Philly chapter of the Proud Boys, which, as we know, is this far-right, neo-fascist, violent, loose affiliation of street gangs, basically. And so Zach Real, the head of the Philly chapter of the Proud Boys, he's a Marine vet, Temple grad. His father and grandfather were cops in Philly. And give a little background here. It's November 2020. Joe Biden just beat Donald Trump in the election, and Real posts on social media, hopefully the firing squads are for the traitors that are trying to steal the election from the American people. Then the next month, he starts raising money for what becomes the January 6th storming of the Capitol. This is all according to the indictment. He's organizing it, essentially. I mean, he's on an encrypted messaging app. to organize this protest to stop the steal, to change the course of the election, of the results of the election. So he shows up, Capitol, January 6, 2021. He's wearing a camouflage Make America Great Again hat and a Temple Owls backpack.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that fact.
And he gets past the police barricades. He organizes this group and leads this group into the Capitol, smokes a cigarette in the office of a senator for some reason. And then, eventually he was found by online sleuths. His name and identity came out in the Inquirer, and he's ultimately arrested, indicted, convicted, and sentenced to 15 years in prison. And that was just this past summer when his conviction came through, and now he's out of prison. As soon as Zach Reel, head of the Proud Boys, got out of prison, he went on the radio, and he talked about why he says he shouldn't have been in prison at all. And here's what he said on WPHT.
Yeah, so the conviction was definitely devastating. It's definitely not what I ever imagined. I never even thought I would have spent a weekend in jail for, what my role was down there that day. But 15 years, it was crazy, and it was.
So what does this all mean for Philly?
I don't know. I mean, does this mean that when there's a protest for, let's say, against police brutality at City Hall, does this mean that the Proud Boys, who have been newly emboldened by the president's pardon and commutations, that they come out with weapons as they have in the past and try to, fight what they call Antifa? Are they going to just be more of a presence in Philly, spouting these far-right views? I mean, you would think that this is an emboldening moment for Proud Boys and other far-right groups all over the country, and Philly's no different. There was one other local January 6th rioter who also got let out. You guys know of Patrick Stedman. He's a Penn alum who lived in Haddonfield, New Jersey, and he's a pickup artist and relationship coach. I had reported on this guy in the past. He's literally that's his job. He helps men pick up women.
Okay.
He also
and he was
riots
a part
on
of
January 6th.
The riots.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
he had
okay.
much less serious charges, but he's also been pardoned.
Interesting.
Do you think he's getting business again?
I think he is getting business again. I would imagine. I'd imagine this might have been good for business. Gets your name out there.
Any press is good press type of vibe.
So.
I don't know.
I guess so.
Well, also this week, council member at large Rue Landau was holding hearings to reinforce the city's commitment to protect vulnerable communities that are, I guess you could say, maybe under attack or vulnerable to some changing policies from the Trump administration. So that happened this week. And we also saw that the head of the Immigrant Affairs stepped down.
Yeah, for the city, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no reason given, right?
Not at all.
All eyes are going to turn to cities in the coming weeks because Trump wants to do what he calls mass deportations, and it's going to require some involvement from local cities in order to successfully pull that off. You're going to need local city cops around when ICE raids an apartment building just for, public safety purposes. They're going to ask for local assistance. So whether Philly can remain a sanctuary city, which is hard to know what that means in reality, but basically it means that Philly does not cooperate with deportation efforts of the federal government. Sanctuary city status was really affirmed by Jim Kenney, a former mayor. He was very much opposed and vocally opposed to Trump 1.0's immigration enforcement efforts. We still don't know where Mayor Parker is going to come down on this. Is she going to cooperate a little bit? Is she going to not cooperate but not say anything publicly to piss off the president? So far, she's been on the quiet side. She has talked about working with him, right?
Yeah. So according to the Inquirer, a top lawyer from Parker's administration said that as of Wednesday, Philly's sanctuary status remains in place despite these threats from the Trump administration.
But it's also being mindful about how the rules are changing. I mean, we also see now that the memo on not rating sensitive places, such as churches and schools, that's been rescinded.
Right.
So as this situation continues to evolve, so do the laws.
Yep, exactly right. So then it also comes down to what the school district is going to do. ICE shows up at a elementary school and says, I'm here to pick up 11-year-old so-and-so and put him in family detention in order for him to be deported. What does the school district do? What training does the staff have to handle such a thing? I mean, when federal agents come into a school. That is a new frontier in America. Schools were basically off limits from immigration enforcement, and now they no longer are. We're going to not only keep an eye on this, but this is a priority for us in terms of seeing how these policies play out locally.
We've got more news after the break.
Hey there, Ryan Reynolds here. It's a new year, and you know what that means. No, not the diet. Resolutions. A way for us all to try and do a little bit better than we did last year. And my resolution, unlike big wireless, is to not be a raging and raise the price of wireless on you every chance I get. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited. See mintmobile.com for details.
Build a routine with Ollie that supports your wellness needs. Like getting your daily vitamins and minerals with Ollie's multi-gummies. Or keeping your mood upbeat with all the vitamin D in Hello Happy. Give your gut health some support with probiotics. And wake up feeling refreshed after taking Ollie Sleep. Do wellness on your terms. Find Ollie at a Walmart or Target near you or at ollie.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
All right, listen, we all make mistakes, right? You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. But this recent mistake that happened with our mayor, kind of confused a lot of us, I would say. Because over the weekend, there was a press conference about how the city was preparing for the snowstorm. And that was right before the Eagles' playoff game against the Los Angeles Rams. Well, Mayor Parker misspelled the Eagles chant. The EAGLES chant, the chant that literally all fans know and scream on the top of their lungs any chance that we can get other than Go Birds. Yeah, that chant. Here's a clip from CBS Philadelphia of how Mayor Parker flubbed the chant. ELGSES, Eagles! Now, Mayor Parker did kind of make fun of herself in response of this particular mistake. Here's a clip.
We don't promise perfection. I'm so happy that I never have, especially after I couldn't spell Eagles right.
Okay. Yes. We're not perfect.
We're not perfect.
We're not perfect.
But it is a little...
But it's just like...
It is funny.
It's funny. This also reminds me of the Eagles fan who, I think it was 6ABC, had interviewed after an Eagles game. And
was it at a bar?
Yeah,
Yes.
she totally botched it too. And it's like, wait, what?
With confidence.
Yes,
is the best
with
part.
confidence. And she's like shaking her pom-poms. Like, girl, what?
We do appreciate self-deprecation in a politician. So I'm glad the mayor did not, run away from acknowledging this mistake.
Well, the irony of the mayor's spelling faux pas is that the city is actually hosting a citywide spelling bee next month. The Office of Youth Engagement and the Philadelphia Youth Commission is hosting it in the mayor's reception room at City Hall on February 21st. Now, it's only available to students, so diehard adult Eagles fans can't join to outspell the mayor.
The mayor's not participating, though. I don't think she qualified.
Yeah, I think we failed that one. But any participating students must be recommended by school staff and have permission from their guardians. So best of luck to all the participants.
Guys, guess what?
What?
My son Ruben won his class spelling bee this past week.
Congrats, Ruben!
So now he's going on to his school's finals. So he might be at City Hall on February 21st.
Does he know how to spell Eagles?
Yeah, he most certainly does.
Have you guys ever participated in a spelling bee? I never made it that far.
Yeah, I know.
I still remember the word that I failed on, sauerkraut. And mind you, in my defense, that is not an English word.
Oh, yeah, it's German, right?
Yeah, so, just watching everyone else get their little ribbons.
I don't know if I can spell that word.
Yeah.
You also never see it. It's not like
because
on
we don't
menus.
eat it anymore as much as I guess people used to.
I do love it on a hot dog.
It is so good on a hot dog.
But it's hard to find. You don't really
But
get it
you're
on.
not going to spell it. Just give me sauerkraut and the
say
relish. Kraut. Oh, okay.
I'll just take the coleslaw.
It's Friday. You got a couple of days to practice your Eagles chants because the next game is on Sunday, 3 p.m. with the Commanders.
Oh, my God. We have to beat these guys.
We're so close. I
So
can
close.
smell the Super Bowl.
Win this game, onto the Super Bowl.
How crazy was Sunday's game in the freaking snow?
It was so fun, but nerve-wracking, but very fun.
nerve-wracking. Okay, guys. The last 5 minutes of the game, I thought we had this locked in, right?
Yeah.
I go outside in the snow, carrying a Eagles flag, twirling it around. Rams gets another touchdown. I'm like, oh my God, I jinxed us. Oh my God, I'm staying in the house.
Right.
I'm not moving. I'm just going to sit there.
Never.
I know.
Particularly with this kicker we have, you never leave the TV before it's all over. Because we don't know what's going to happen.
My rule of thumb is to never feel secure until it's actually over.
For sure. Yeah. Wait till that clock winds down. There's some extra juice to this game. Not that we need anything more to get juiced up, but Josh Harris.
Yo, what's
Can we
up
talk
with
about
Josh
this guy?
Harris?
So he's the part owner of the Sixers who was all behind that switcheroo that pissed off the city where they were supposed to move to Center City. They fought everybody on this idea for 2 years and now are going to stay in South Philly with the new arena that they're going to build with Comcast. So that just happened, a week or two ago? Josh Harris is also the owner of the Washington Commanders. So he owns...
say it ain't true.
It's like wild. He owns our basketball team and our rival city's football team. He's also a part owner, by the way, of the New Jersey Devils. But set that aside for a moment.
Got his hands all over,
well,
right?
He's worth like $11 billion or something. So there's a guy now riding a bike around the city and taking pictures of himself with a "Fuck Josh Harris" sign. And I was looking at Reddit today, and they're trying to get a "Fuck Josh Harris" chant going at the link on Sunday because Josh Harris will be there. And because the Sixers are so bad and people are so angry about the arena thing that it's only added to this anti-Josh Harris hate. So that's an extra storyline to follow on Sunday.
Well, is anyone pissed about these ticket prices? I cannot go.
Oh my God. Yeah. Siani, you put the ticket prices in the newsletter this week. They're like crazy.
If you want a seat, good luck to you. Last I saw, over $1,000. If you want to stand in the cold,
right,
over $500. So I personally will be parked on my couch.
Love that.
For free. Thank you very much.
And we have some ideas of where you could go watch the game, maybe at a local bar or something.
Yeah, CityCast listener Rita wrote to us and told us that Liberty Grounds up on Girard Ave, they have a mini golf course in the basement of that place. It's very cool. They have all kinds of specials going on for game day, dollar wings, $2 Jell-O shots.
Ooh, you had me at $1.
And you can get a bucket of Surfsides for $35. So they have a big watch party going on there. I'm sure there's plenty of other bars that have all kinds of things going on. So check your local spots. And if we win on Sunday, I don't want to jinx anything, but we're going to keep an eye on all the things you need to do for Super Bowl Sunday.
Yes. All right. What's everyone else doing for this weekend?
I'm personally going bowling to celebrate a friend's birthday.
Oh, cute.
So the dress code is Y2K. Don't know how much of us are going to abide by that. So we're going to see who follows orders.
How do you dress Y2K?
Just kind of that early 2000s type of vibe.
Okay.
So we're going to see who actually, lives up to it.
Okay, what are you wearing?
I have not figured that out yet. So, we're just going to run on vibes and hope for the best.
Nice.
Matt, what are you doing?
Besides the game on Sunday, just going to go to the bar with some friends in the neighborhood. Tonight, we were texting and trying to figure out where to go and realized that so many bars in my neighborhood, like the local corner bars, have just closed in recent years. I'm in Southwest Center City, like Graduate Hospital, and there's spots on South Street, of course, and down on Washington Avenue, but like those places like nestled in that residential community that are just on the corner, then you can always find a seat at the bar.
Where everybody knows your name.
Which is, right, that kind of vibe, for sure. And then you just feel comfortable, and then you can always get a seat, no matter if it's like, 2 o'clock on a Wednesday or, 11 o'clock on a Saturday night. There's just fewer of those places around, and made me want to just shout out and pour a proverbial one out for Grace Tavern on Grace Ferry Avenue, which was one of those bars in my neighborhood, just closed a couple of weeks ago. Great little place, been around for a couple decades. It was on this little pedestrian triangle we have at Grace Ferry and South Street. So there was outdoor seating and that they created during the pandemic, and they had the best blackened string beans that you dip in the Cajun sauce, and it had that spice. So, you throw that down with some beer. Wonderful place, charming little spot. So we miss you, Grace, and I'll be at a different bar on Friday night.
Speaking of neighborhood bars, I recently went to Bad Brother off of 24th Street in Fairmount.
Oh, I've never been there.
Yeah. Sriracha buffalo wings. Ooh. You gotta get them. So if you need another neighborhood bar.
They're
meaty and like spicy, and the service was great. And it's in a row home on a corner, and if you walk by, you probably never even know that it's there. So shout out to Bad Brother too.
Cool.
Have me at Sriracha.
Anybody gonna ask me what I'm doing this weekend? No? Okay, well, I'll tell you. I really don't know. But next week, I'm super excited. I'm going to go see Zach Fox at Union Transfer. If you don't know who Zach Fox is, he is Janine's ex-boyfriend from Abbott Elementary.
He is so funny on that show.
He's so funny. And he's also this like really cool DJ. So I'm going to that concert.
So he's not a comedian, he's a DJ.
He's a comedian, he's a rapper, he's a DJ.
And an actor.
So I'm going there.
Nice.
Next week.
I love it.
Yeah.
We love a multi-hyphenate.
Yeah. Well, Matt, Siani, thank you so much for joining me on Friday News Roundup.
Thanks, guys. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. Our executive producer is Matt Katz. Our producers are Abby Fritz and Selena Say Reynolds. Our Hey Philly newsletter editors are Siani Colon and Ava Wynowski. And our host is me, Trenae Nuri. Music is by Philly's own Interminable, with additional music from all the kimonos. If you enjoyed this week of episodes, please tell your neighbor, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter, Hey Philly. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Have a great weekend, y'all, and be safe. Bye. And if the sriracha wings are too spicy, you could have had a pint of Eagles snow. The Eagles were selling a pint of the snow that fell in the link on Sunday, y'all. And guess how much it was? It was $50. And according to 6ABC, it was sold out in 2 hours.
Oh, my God. Philly's
Can
different,
you imagine?
So you got $1,000 for the seats, $50 for some snow.
Right.
So what else are they going to charge next?
A Super Bowl win? Priceless.